Hello everyone and welcome to the preview of Australia v India Test Series as well as the Big Bash. Let's get right into it. Firstly, Hurricanes versus Sixers. Big Bash clash tonight. I think it'll be at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, local time at the game. Some ins for the Hobart Hurricanes. Johan Botha, Tim David from the Scorchers, Peter Hanscon, Colin Ingram, Will Jack, Sandeep Lamishani, Darwin Milan, Mitch Owen, Tim Payne, Will Parker, Kemo Paul, Charles Wakim and Nick Winter. Some outs, George Bailey retired, great career George Bailey, Jared Freeman, Simon Malenko's leaving to the Heat, David Miller's leaving, Kaz Ahmed's leaving, Tom Rogers is moving to the Sixers, and Clive Rose and Aaron Sammons are also leaving. So Tom Rogers could be taking on his former team tonight. Looking forward to it. Some imports from South Africa, Colin Ingram, Will Jacks from England, Sandeep Lamishani from Nepal, Darwin Milan from England and Kemo Paul from West Indies. Some ins from the Sydney Sixers, Jake Ball from England, Carlos Braithwaite from the West Indies, Jason Holder from the West Indies and James Vince from England. And Nick Burtis and Dan Christian will make their way for the Sixers, as well as Lawrence Neil-Smith, Tom Rogers from the Hurricanes, taking on his former team possibly, Gurinder Sandhu and Mitchell Starc. They will be without Tom Curran, Daniel Fallins, Josh Hazlewood and Steve Smith. And now we're going to look at tomorrow night's game. The Melbourne Stars are taking on the Brisbane Heat. What an exciting clash that'll be. Can't wait to see a bit of Linsanity out there. Melbourne Stars have got some new ins, such as Bailey Stanlake, who's came in from the Adelaide Strikers, Liam Hatcher from the Sydney Thunder, Andre Fletcher, and Zahir Khan, as well as Nicholas Poran and Will Bukowski. That sounds like a pretty strong lineup. However, they're not going to have Peter Hanscom, Daniel Worrell, Harris Ralph or Sandeep Lamishani. And some imports, Dilba Hussain, Zahir Khan, Nicholas Poran and Andre Fletcher. Looking forward to that. And for the Heat, well, they've got plenty of new people, such as Xavier Bartlett, James Baisley, if I pronounce that right, Tom Cooper from the Renegades, Lewis Gregory, Dan Lawrence, Mornay Morkel will be playing as well. Jack Wildermuth also for the Heat, Summer Malenko, as I said earlier, Jack Wood, Lachlan Pfeiffer, I'm going to call him that because it's spelt with a P. I'm just going to say that he's probably not related to the actress, but it's just a bit of a laugh, you know what I mean? She's a pretty good actress, to her respect. Connor Sully as well coming in. Outs, Ben Cutting, Cameron Gannon, Zahir Khan, Josh Layla, James Pattinson, Jack Prestwich, a lot of people moving to the Renegades. Matthew Renshaw's moving to the Strikers, so he's betraying his state, as a lot of Big Bash players do. AB de Villiers is leaving as well. So the imports from overseas, Lewis Gregory from England, Dan Lawrence from England, Majib Rahman from Afghanistan. So coming up after that will be Stars versus the Thunder of Renegades v Scorchers on the double header on Saturday. Then on Sunday, double header, Strikers v Hurricanes and Sixers versus Renegades. Followed by on Monday, Thunder versus Heat. Now, on to the all-important test match between Australia and India. So a massive test series, and they will be playing without David Warner, Australia. And Bukowski is also injured, so there's going to be a massive battle to pick the openers. Now that's very interesting for me on how that's all going to turn out. I think we will be seeing Bukowski and Burns open the batting. But what about Marcus Harris? Because Bukowski's away, we now give Marcus Harris another chance. He was the better batsman against India out of Harris and Finch. Harris was better. So that'll be very, very interesting. And I'm keen to find out a lot. So it's interesting because we have Australia without David Warner, which a lot of people say is a cheat. So we won't get the Indian fans booing too much. David Warner's a legend, by the way. And Steve Smith, number 4, Labuschagne, number 3. I think Australia did over-rely on them towards the end of the ODI series, which probably led to their collapse. which is very interesting. Bowling attack. We saw Steketee do really, really well in the first tour match. Got plenty of wickets and stuff. And did better than Pattinson in my opinion. So I think James Pattinson's still better. He's still a legend. But it'll be interesting because we have our bowlers seem very tired and sore. We'll need to use bowlers like Pattinson and Steketee. Steketee could be like the new Siddle. Then we've also got all-rounder Cameron Green at number 6. Definitely pick him. Travis Head sealed at number 5. Do not think anything else. On the topic of Sean Marsh, I think he'd be a good number 3 or number 4 if we lose Labuschagne or Smith. Khawaja as well. Like, if we lose Labuschagne and Smith, I reckon Khawaja at 3 and Marsh at 4. But because we have Labuschagne and Smith, Labuschagne 3, Smith 4. So that's about it picking my 11s. Now on to the Indian team. One player I'm looking forward to for India is probably Cheteshwar Pujara. Now, he is very defensive. 54 of 140 in the first innings and a duck in the second innings, but he's really good at fighting off the Australian attack. And he's I wouldn't say he's better than Kohli, but he is actually close to that. We have Ajinkya Rahane, good choice for captain. Definitely pick him, probably number 5. So a lot of options here. Kuldeep Yadav is a very good spinner. He's a good chance. We're looking at Mohammad Siraj, Umesh Yadav. Now, interestingly enough, he didn't play against Australia a couple of years back, but I think he's got a good chance. He bowled quite well to Australia back in the 2014-15 series. I know that was a long time ago, but Umesh Yadav is a good bowler. Also, he's been able to get good batsmen out, such as Joe Burns, Will Bukovsky. He's getting those very important wickets that India have needed in that tour match. Who else does India need, though? That's the question. Mayank Agarwal would be a good choice. KL Rahul would be a good choice. The youngster, Shubman Gill. Shubman Gill, I saw him in the India A match against the West Indies as well, a couple of years ago. He's just such a rising talent. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in the Test series. It'll be interesting. I think he'll be the replacement player for Kohli, but I think he should be acknowledged for his own skill as well. So India, in my opinion, their bowling attack, they've got very good fast bowlers. They may be without Ishant, I heard, but they will have Bhuvaneshwar Kumar possibly in the Tests. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar? Maybe. They definitely got Mohammad Shami. He's a good bowler. And that other one, the Yorker King, Natarajan, I wonder if he might get a shot in the Test matches, or is he not much of a Test match player? That's interesting enough. Now, I'm going to spend this next couple of minutes reading through your comments and interactions about this series. Prafamesh says that Australia will win the Test series. He is an Indian supporter, but he's saying that without Virat, Ishant and Rohit, they will struggle India. So thank you for your interaction there, mate. I'm just looking down at my iPad. Agent 108 says that Australia will win the Test series 2-1 because the Aussies have got a great pace attack and we could see some good matches. And he also said that before, 10 hours ago, hey man, we defeated you guys, but it seems in Test we're going to get crushed. Sad to see Sanju falling. Well, that's interesting interaction from you. It's interesting because this is going to be a massive Test series on behalf of Australian cricket. And how are we going to deal with injured players from now on? You know that 2018 was one of our worst years in cricket because we didn't have Warner and Smith. That's literally how much we rely on them. We need to find other players to rely on. Labuschagne would be one of them. Probably some others as well. Maybe Travis Head. Travis Head's probably the future Australian captain, I'm thinking. Or possibly Labuschagne. I'm not sure. And it's interesting, what about getting a bowler to be like a captain or something? That could also be a good idea. KO thinks, that's Cheo, or whatever you call yourself. For Border Gavaskar Trophy, Mohammad Simaraj could be backup bowler for India as Ishant Sharma may not be available for 2 Test matches. And for Smith and Kohli, I think Kohli is better than Smith in T20s and ODIs, while Smith is better than Kohli in Test matches. And he votes for Kohli in the Kohli-Smith competition I set up. It's interesting as well. Our media analyst guy, well, that's not exact. He's not paid or anything, but like he does an excellent job. Seek96, so I'm going to call you SYC96. First test will be a day-nighter, meaning that it will provide good primetime ratings for Channel 7 and Fox. However, the rest of the series will be during the daytime. However, Perth will have to put up with the first 2 hours of test match on 7 Mate for the day games due to sunrise, which you don't watch the show before moving to 7. I've seen some funny sunrise stuff, like one of those memes of Koshi on the tortoise. I think Koshi's a fun guy. I just find the memes funny. Koshi's actually the president of Port Adelaide Football AFL Club, if you watch AFL. I quite like Koshi, but, you know, I think cricket's more important than sunrise, and that's just my opinion on it. And Whispers voted for Smith over Kohli, Siddhartha Batari, Smith over Kohli. It's a lot of banter going around about cricket and stuff. It's interesting to hear about all the broadcast analysts and stuff. Now, thank you so much for watching this. It was quite a long video. I'm hoping you really enjoyed it. This Big Bash season is massive for a lot of teams, but so is this Australia-India Test Series. There is also more cricket coming up, and this is really, really exciting. I'm just going to quickly finish up the video with New Zealand versus Pakistan and New Zealand versus West Indies. And there's a test match starting tomorrow between New Zealand and West Indies. I remember in the first test match, the pitch was so green. I wasn't, when I was watching from side on, when the camera showed a side on angle, I couldn't tell where was the pitch. The only thing you could tell was the crease line. I think they need to work on getting a bit drier wickets. And I know the weather's really bad in New Zealand, even in summer, or should I say very rainy, and some people like the rain. Really cold in summer, 18 degrees, too cold for cricket. Even, you know, the British summer is warmer than the English summer. But they need to find a way to get around it. They need to do a better job, the ground staff, because if you have a green pitch, it's just going to be a game that's all in it for the bowlers and the hard-hitting batsmen getting lots of quick runs. But we want a nice Australian-like wicket, like what we see in Adelaide Oval and stuff. They're very exciting. I remember there was some pretty rubbish pitches though in Australia. I think the MCG pitch, they've improved it, but, you know, maybe this is a bit of a joke. Maybe they should make the Boxing Day test a 6-day test. That's going to be very controversial to say, because their pitch is so, not robust, but just slow. It doesn't really get much done. Like that pitch in the 2017-18 Ashes where Cook batted really well. They could have had a 10-day match there, seriously. They could have been playing for 10 days. It's interesting because they had one 6-day test match at the SCG between Australia and the World 11 15 years back, and that was pretty exciting. So yeah, that's about it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is very important, and share this video with your friends. If you don't share this video with your friends, this channel won't go anywhere. So don't go anywhere. Leave a comment, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.